today's training, consolidated coaching. Much of you are on the phone because of your relationship with myself or Mike in our full-time loan officer capacity. Thank you for being on. Many of you are paying members of consolidated coaching. So of course, we always love and honor you guys. And then there's a couple invited guests as well. So thanks for being on. Want a quick housekeeping reminder, apology in advance. Mike and I are switching over all of our kind of back end to like a big boy software program. It's called Infusionsoft. Doesn't really matter to you. But what that means is we're going to be updating some monthly billing processes. We're going to be changing from Zoom over to GoToWebinar, which is maybe a little bit more difficult to navigate, not quite as intuitive, but has a lot more functionality for replay and archive, so it's easier to go back and access information that you want to access at some point in the future. So bear with us. There might be some housekeeping going on behind the scenes that make it a little bit more difficult, but of course, you can always interact with myself and Mike. I know Mike, for me, probably the easiest way to get in touch with me is Facebook Messenger because I'm always there. How about you? If somebody's got a question for you, if they need some Mike Merriam love.
Yeah, same thing. Facebook Messenger, private messenger, tag me in a post, or just email me, mike@mikemerriam.com.
Yeah, it's so easy. I wish that idiot didn't own scottgroves.com. That'd be so much easier. All right, cool. So, today's training kind of came from the fact that Mike is dealing with exactly what we're going to talk about. He moved markets and had to start over from scratch. So, Mike, why don't you tell us a little bit about what prompted that move, where you went from, the volume we're doing, and now where you went to, so that people can get a little bit of a context for, the training you and I basically set up for you.
Yeah, sure. Absolutely. So I moved from the Raleigh, North Carolina market where I lived and originated for 8 years to Charleston, South Carolina, where I literally knew nobody when I arrived, had zero realtor contacts, absolutely no contacts whatsoever. And what drove the move was I took a temporary break from the mortgage business. When I was in Raleigh, at the end of my career in the mortgage business in Raleigh, I was a non-producing branch manager. I didn't produce. I haven't originated a loan for about a year. And then last November, I published a book. I started doing a lot of coaching and running seminars and meetings all over the country. And so I hit pause on the mortgage business. And at that point, that's when we decided, hey, we're no longer geographically restricted. Let's move to Paradise, which is Charleston, South Carolina. For those of you who haven't been here, it's paradise. So come down and visit for sure. But when I moved here, I said, you know what? I should really get back into the origination game. I'm coaching loan officers. I'm passionate about coaching, but I'm not like doing the things every day that I'm helping other people do. And so frankly, I was bored and I got back into the game. So I started out with zero contacts. I've been going for just about 100 days now. I've got 7 million in the pipeline. I've got a stable of about 15 realtors that are actively referring stuff to me, and it's starting to go pretty well. But it's really went back to the basics and just started reaching out, making my calls, staying in front of people, and then utilizing all of the strengths and knowledge that I had to just give to everybody, to create a value exchange where I was giving 100% of what I could to real estate agents with no strings attached, no expectations, and eventually they started to reciprocate.
Awesome. So one of the things that we're going to go over today, and there's a reason there's not an attached PDF for this training. That's by design, because a lot of what we're going to go over is really just tactile. I didn't want to go through and do a bunch of screen prints, which frankly will be outdated within the next month or 2 months when Redfin does their update. So what I'd love for you to do, if you're watching this training, you have 2 screens. Shut down your email, turn your phone upside down. Don't get distracted with the other things that are going to take your attention away, but bring up a fresh web browser right now that doesn't have your email, doesn't have Encompass, doesn't have Optimal Blue, doesn't have your rate sheet, so that you don't get sucked into that stuff. Focus right now on what we're doing, but bring us up in one web browser or in the Zoom profile. And then if you can bring up a web browser, the first thing I want to show you on Zoom, let me just go ahead and share my screen here. I'm going to go in an incognito window for a moment. Desktop number 3, that's where we're at. Okay. The first thing that I want to show you is just, I get a lot of requests for content. And can you confirm, Mike, that you can see my screen, Learn to Buy a Home, and Steps, Redfin? Yep. Great. One of the things that I get a lot of questions for is content. Hey, Scott, you send out a weekly video and you're always on Facebook, and you send out a weekly email blast, or I try to. It ends up being more like bi-weekly or once every 3 weeks. But when I have writer's block, I simply just go to the Redfin blog. And the Redfin blog has an infinite amount of stuff that you can R&D, research and development, AKA rip off and distribute. There you go, rip off and distribute. R&D, rip off and distribute. So you can go here to see all kinds of different things, local news in your area. If you're a major metropolitan area, Los Angeles, Charleston, Raleigh, Austin, Phoenix, you can go here and there's some type of local news. I always go to this little fun and fabulous section. If you're looking for something kitschy to post to Facebook, they'll have celebrity homes, they'll have great little infographics. So just Google Redfin blog and they'll have a bunch of stuff here. And then really what I like to do, if I'm going to dive deep and write an article, is I like to go to their on-demand index, or they have a couple economists that work just for them, and they'll write articles here like most competitive neighborhoods, tax breaks, things like that. So if I'm really struggling to come up with some local market information, I'll go here, I'll read this article, I'll print it out, I'll cut and paste a few graphs, I'll rewrite this article in my own words so it's not pure plagiarism. But I will, cut and paste a graph and give them credit for it, because all of them either say Redfin housing demand or they've got the little Redfin logo in the bottom corner. I'll give them credit for the fact that they're coming up with the material. And I'll just rewrite one of their articles as my own. So if you're having a hard time for talking points with realtors, if you're looking for content to send out, just something to post somewhere to generate activity and conversation, this Redfin blog is really powerful. So anybody in the chat box going here on a regular basis to read, because you should be, if you can respond to the chat box, I guarantee you your clients are landing here somewhere. Redfin has just become the most searched website for real estate. So, a lot of times I'll get this string of questions from somebody and I'll be like, oh, that's interesting. And I'll look, and sure enough, it was a Redfin article. 10 questions you should ask your mortgage broker. 5 questions you should confirm with your realtor about your loan officer, things like that. So just keep an eye on here. It can be really powerful for content. And I think, Mike, you've been using this a bit as well. Any feedback?
Yeah, Scott, I do the same thing, R&D, like you said, rip off and duplicate. So go in, find stuff that I think people could benefit from, either forward it to them, or typically what I'll do is spend a few minutes to repurpose it, kind of add my voice to it, or and either rewrite it or take the article, copy and paste it, and then add some footnotes to it. Say, hey, Redfin, this article is on the Redfin blog, but this is my thoughts on it. Is where I agree, is where I disagree. Here's where we may be able to go a step deeper and expand upon some information, and just kind of put my own touch on it.
Awesome. The other thing I like is, let's be honest, Redfin is effectively a marketing company that happens to do real estate. Our marketing departments at our mortgage company, they're mortgage people that are doing marketing, normally speaking. You're very rarely going to be able to get your marketing company kind of on demand to come up with an infographic that looks as good as the type of stuff that Redfin's putting out. So just, cut and paste it. Don't eliminate their logo. Give them some credit for the work that they're doing. But then, like Mike said, put your flair on it. So I want to get away from Redfin for just one moment, because the name of the training today was Acres of Diamonds. And the first thing I wanted you to do is have some content to get out there to realtors. But finding realtors is the next most common question that we usually get when Mike and I are interviewing somebody or doing a one-on-one training. So what I want to do is just kind of dispel the myth that it's hard to find realtors to work with. So, Mike, give me the street. You don't have to give me your full address. Give me the street, the city, and the zip code where you live.
Andover Way, Mount Pleasant, South Carolina.
There we go. Okay, Mount Pleasant, South Carolina. So I know that Mike did this because we talked about this. So nearby, what do we have nearby? So we're going to look for realtors nearby. I happen to know, just because I have checked this out, when you search nearby, correct me if I'm wrong, Mike, it looks like these areas, Dunes Boulevard, Carolina Park, soccer field, these are probably all within 5 miles of your house. Does that sound about correct?
Yeah, a lot less than that, actually.
Okay, so yeah, we're not looking at a 50-mile grid here. We're probably looking at places within 2 to 5 miles of Mike's house.
Yeah, for example, Scott, if you look at that top point, Mary Jean, you go down to the bottom point, Weichert, right? That's about 2 miles.
Okay, perfect. So within 2 miles of Mike's house, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 real estate offices or large real estate teams. Now, let me do the same thing for my area. This is something every single one of you should be doing now, or as soon as we get off the call, is picking your home address or your office address. So we're at 117 East Colorado Boulevard in Pasadena, California. That's us. Let me just search nearby here. I'm going to look for realtors. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 different real estate offices or teams who have self-identified as big enough, important enough, and savvy enough at marketing. This is also within about 3 miles of our office. There is enough real estate offices, or like I said, large real estate teams that are savvy enough to get themselves on Google as a team, like Ramiro and Erica right here, people I should be reaching out to get on Google as a listed realtor. So what I always tell people is, I've had loan officers that are driving 10, 20, 30, 40 miles to go to a real estate or a realtor appointment. They're, doing a deal on the west side and then taking a train to the east side and then spending their weekends marketing closer to their house, which are on the north side. And the wear and tear on their body, their family, their time, when really there's just an acre of diamonds in your backyard. So, one of the things that I would do if I was moving to a new area, or you were trying to capture more business in a 2 or 3 square mile radius around your house, or you were just trying to reboot your career and get some good ideas, I would just go here. So let's see, Berkshire Hathaway. They are less than 2 miles away from where my office is. So let's just go ahead and look at them. And this is how I started building my database, which is currently up to about 6,000 realtors who I can send bomb videos to. I can send constant contact email blasts. I have them in our automated drip campaign through our company. So let's just go to Berkshire Hathaway Pasadena. And I don't know for sure if this is the case, but I think Berkshire Hathaway is one of those companies that archives their agents on their website. So here's the manager, Marilyn Silva. Oh, here we go. Real estate agents assigned to Berkshire Hathaway, 127 agents with every single one of their contact information here. Either myself on a morning or afternoon where it's a little bit slow, or a $10 an hour assistant I can find on Fiverr, or maybe one of your teenage kids who can type really fast can go through here and database these people. And look, the ones that are really doing their own business, they've even self-selected to have their Yahoo email, not their corporate email, which is really powerful if you can get somebody's personal email instead of their company email, because people tend to move so often in this business. But how powerful would it be if I just spend, which I should do, somebody on this call hold me accountable, just go down this list, archive all of these people and give them a call. Rebecca Alvarado, hey, this is Scott. We just opened a new office up here in Colorado. We're less than 2 minutes from your branch. Just wanted to introduce myself, and I'll send you an email if you want to do coffee sometime, catch up and talk about the market. Just go down the list. And there's 127 people here I have not made a concerted effort to reach out to. And frankly, I'm a top producer that knows better, that's worked in the market over here for over a year. So when people call us or they're complaining on Facebook, not in our group because our group's pretty awesome, but I see them complaining on Facebook, there's just not enough business, I don't know anybody, there's no inventory, there's no deals. My first thought is to go here and say, all right, cool, you've got 14 offices with an average of 120 agents per office. Have you called, emailed, sent a thank you card, done a drop-in on all of those 1,400 agents? I'm going to guess there's not a single person on the call who can say that they have done that. Mike, would you agree or disagree?
Yeah, I totally agree. Yeah, there's no way nobody's done it.
Not a single person. So, Mike, you and I are the king of excuses. We know what excuses are coming. What is the next excuse that's coming from a loan officer who I say to call 127 agents at Berkshire Hathaway?
Well, too busy.
Too busy, yep.
Right. Too many fires to put out on current deals. It's not, it's low level cold calling. A lot of excuses.
Yeah. My favorite one is always, well, I don't know which ones are doing business. Why am I going to waste my time having coffee with somebody who's doing one deal a year? And by the way, I hear that most frequently from the loan officer that's not doing one deal a year. So if you're the loan officer that hasn't done one deal this year yet, and I know we're only on the fourth, but if you don't have a deal set up to fund, you can't be picky about the realtors you talk to. Go talk to all of them, and maybe you'll find some people that are doing one deal a year, and you're doing one deal a year, and you guys can grow together, or one deal a month, or 2 deals a month. So what I like to do is the next step, and this is what takes us back to Redfin, and this is the most powerful tool that I like to use. And I think what I'm going to have to do is go over to my actual account here. So let me stop the share here. Hi, Mike. Good to see you again. Let's share here again over to this desktop that has me logged in as me. And let's see. Okay, so can you now see the sell for more, pay 1% listing fee? Is that the one you're seeing, Mike?
Yep.
All right, cool. So here's what I would do. So I've gone through and I've identified back over here the fact that there's a bunch of real estate offices and there's a bunch of people to call. So I've done all of that work, okay? Now what I'm gonna do is, because I actually am closing more than one deal a month and I wanna protect my time and I don't wanna do 50 realtor appointments with individuals who are closing one deal a month, I wanna know who's actually closing deals. So we just go here, Pasadena, California. What is your niche going to be, Mike, in your area there in Raleigh?
Niche in terms of what, Scott?
Sorry, not in Raleigh, in Charleston.
Niche in terms of what?
I don't know, loans, like what are you looking to do? Do you want to be the reno guy, the jumbo guy, the I'll do everything guy?
Yeah, we're conventional and jumbo, with kind of a good mix of both. We're right in that price point where people are scratching to just get below the conforming limit and going just a little bit over.
Got it.
And we don't have high balance here, so we're at 453 100 for conventional limit. So I push a lot for jumbo, $700,000-$800,000 purchases with between 10 and 20% down.
Got it. So here's what I would do if I was Mike, and I know Mike's already done this, but I have my screen up, so we'll just do this. We'll go to Charleston, South Carolina, right? Mike has already done the exercise of finding the realtors, the acre of diamonds that is already sitting in his backyard. He's going to go to Charleston, South Carolina, and he's going to see, okay, there's a ton of business here. These little green hotspots represent listings. He probably doesn't want to be driving all over the 78, the 642, the 17. So zero me in a little bit, Mike, on where you would want to be doing business.
Yeah, let's go into that 108 James Island area and that 176 next to it. There you go.
Cool. So we want to be in this little area here, right? So the next thing you do is you remove the outline, because we're not going to attack all of Charleston. Mike knows, look at all those transactions right in his backyard, okay? So let's just draw on Redfin. He wants to be, oh, that didn't work. Remove outline, draw. Okay, so he wants to be more or less around this area, okay? That's where he wants to go. That makes his quality of life excellent. He can be home to see his kids. And now he just mentioned, as we see here, a lot of those properties are in the, mid 4s, tipping into the 5s. And he says, you know what? I want to be the guy that can go to realtors and have an interesting talking point. I want to be the guy that says, hey, I can do 10% down jumbo loans. I'm guessing you can do that, Mike. You got some sources?
Yep.
Perfect. So if we just say a loan amount of 460, because that takes us right over the conventional level, divide by 0.9. So let's say his minimum price point is going to be 500,000. So let's even go to 550. Okay. So now we're going to bring up all the properties that are within 3 or 4 square miles of Mike's house. These are all the realtors that have a listing right in that target demographic of where Mike wants to be doing business, where he has a compelling talking point, he has a story to sell, and let's just save this search. So now we've got Charleston over 550. I want to get a daily email on what is going on with that activity. Okay, so we update this here, saved search. Now I'm going to have a way to hold Mike accountable. Let's go up to my personal email, which is where I keep all this stuff. I think I already deleted this email this morning, so bear with me when I find it. Nope. Let's go to the trash. Hold one. Oh, man, I really deleted the whole thing. That's not good. Sorry, guys. Bear with me. I forgot to save the email this morning. Daily, I basically get an email.
While you're looking for that, Scott, I see something dangerous on here. I see that your wife is looking at homes on here, so that can't be good.
She is. So here's the daily report that I get on properties that we have liked, or more importantly, I get I get the entire listing. So tomorrow morning, I'm going to get an email that says Charleston over 550,000 and all the activity, either the price drops, the new listings, the just sold, the back on market. And of the properties in this square mile, I'll forward the email to Mike and I'll post it on the Facebook group tomorrow. I would suspect to get an email with about 5 properties. 3 of them will go into escrow, probably 10 properties actually. 3 of them will go in escrow. 2 of them will be back on market because they fell out of escrow. And we're approaching that time of year now where some more stuff might be going on the market because we're after the holidays. Maybe there's 4 or 5 listings. Right there is the built-in daily activity for Mike to do to make his calls. You know, if you're the type of person that gets analysis paralysis, or you've got a database of 1 person and you don't know who to call, or you've got a database of 1,000 people and you don't know who to call because you're just stuck in that analysis paralysis, let this email from Redfin every day be your guide, and you have a built-in talking point. Hey, let's look here. 559,000. I don't know why that was starred. I guess my wife was looking at property in your house or in your neck of the woods. So listing provided, Century 21 experts. If we dig a little deeper here, we'll be able to find the name. So, or we can just Google the property. Let's say Betty has this listing at 4 Conch Corridor. Just call up Betty and say, hey, Betty, see that you got a property for 559. I'm guessing you would prefer to accept an offer that will take you down to that conventional loan limit right around 450. Did you also know that for some of your clients who might be a little bit shy on their down payment, you can do a 10% down jumbo loan? Immediately relevance to the realtor. Instead of calling up the realtor and saying, hey, give me your poor, sick, tired, and hungry, and I'll pick up the phone and we got great rates. That's the same shit every other loan officer is spieling to them. What you can do is you can have a market relevant, property relevant, realtor centric conversation point to have with them by text or email. I've been talking a ton. Is this resonating with people? And or Mike, what's your feedback? Sorry, I'm just on a roll here.
Yeah, I mean, this is amazing. It's an exact recipe of what to do, right? It takes the question away, takes the excuses away, and it's just straight up personal accountability to yourself to just do this and you'll have results. If you just do this every day with no bullshit, you will have results.
Yeah. So let me walk you back through this real quick. And a couple things to answer some questions here. You do have to have a Redfin account, which is easy. You just give them your email and you register just like any other free account. But let's go back up here. Everybody sees a fresh browser, right? Is that correct, Mike?
Yep.
All right, cool. So you have your account. I'm already logged in up here as Scott. So I have my favorites, my saved searches. You know, I'll show you my saved search. One of the things that I was doing, if you see here my saved searches in Santa Clarita area, Santa Clarita, which is a suburb about 30 miles north of ours where I was living for a while, they have one lender, great lender as a matter of fact, this company named Augusta Financial. They dominate market share. They have about 30 or 40% market share. But I happen to know that they are a correspondent lender. They don't have quite as many jumbo sources as I do. So what I said was, hey, one of my areas of attack, if I want to get business in Santa Clarita, let me go for the jumbo and the super jumbo. And so what I do is every day I get an email from Santa Clarita talking about what properties are listed over 800,000. That gives me kind of a daily talking point to reach in with realtors. And here's that geographic area. So let me go through this one more time. Sign up for an account. Let's go to one of the branches that is well represented today on the call is Ladera Heights in the Southern California region, just north of LAX. Now, let's say I had just moved to Ladera Heights. It's a real popular area right now, ton of properties coming up. I have my filter set for jumbo here, and it looks like there's a lot of jumbo properties here. So let's say I know this is a pretty small geographical area and kind of this dead space over here where there's not streets. This is these are like old oil fields and kind of industrial areas. So let's back out a little bit to add some more space. Remove the outline because you don't necessarily care about the exact town called Ladera Heights. You just want to be kind of in this geographical area. Now click draw on your map. And let's say, I don't like driving west of the 405 because I decided the people there are obnoxious. My buddy works in Inglewood, so I don't want to be attacking his realtors. Oh, Park Mesa has some great properties. Leimert Park, Crenshaw, Baldwin Hills. So I'm going to draw this circle here. And that's going to give me how many properties? A ton. 106 homes here that are currently on the market. So again, let's go ahead and say, you know, I'm not really great at down payment assist. I'm not, you know, we're paid on volume, let's be real. So I want to talk to agents that in general are listing places over 350, let's say. Doesn't really change the search criteria here. And now I want to save this search. Ladera Heights branch, you better be doing this yourself because maybe I'll start calling them because there's a lot of great property down there. So watch out, buddies. Better start calling those realtors. So I'm going to update this to save the Ladera Heights. And now tomorrow morning, I am going to get an email with any activity in Ladera Heights, updated listings, cancellations, back on market, price drop. And I'll tell you, this is an amazing tool to have an additional conversation piece with your realtors of, hey, Bill, just calling you about your listing, da-da-da, how's it going? You know, start getting some conversation going. Hey, you know, I'm actually on an alert for all of the Ladera Heights area and surrounding towns. You know, I've seen a ton of stuff selling quickly. Or, you know, I'm getting a daily alert, 3 or 4 properties a day of price drops. What's going on out there? Just gives you so much more relevant data other than like, hey, Bill, I'm a loan officer. I'm really good at FHA loans. Yeah, well, so is everybody else probably that works in the area. Or, hey, I'm really great. Like, we can't beat Chase Bank, but I got great service and I pick up my phone on the weekends. That's not really instilling confidence or driving a conversation of value. You can start to talk to people about their market area, about their listing. That's the power of like what Redfin is doing for buyers. And we can steal that data and steal that functionality and use it for realtor follow-up. So let me just go to the question and answer. Melinda, I'm sure you need to have an account with Redfin. Yep, sign up, pretty easy. Tony, I think I went back through the way that we saved the search by drawing. And Malik, you had some questions about, go through those steps one more time. Shoot me another question or something in the chat box if you were having trouble kind of keeping up there, but I think I did it a second time. You all caught that. So we've got Charleston. I've got my Ladera Heights search now. I'm going to be moving back to Pasadena, so I'm going to be setting one up for Pasadena very soon. Here's my Santa Clarita search. And then the other thing that I use this for, just one last tip, and then I'll let Mike talk because I feel like I'm monopolizing your time. Sorry about that. Let's go to filters here after we have my criteria up, right? So I want to visit houses over $800,000 because I want to have the talking point of knowing how to do jumbo loans to these realtors who frankly are just now getting into the jumbo markets. Now I'm going to go down and I am going to do more. So when you're going through your filters here, just look for show more. Forget active listings. I only want to see open houses this weekend. Cool. If my wife decides that she wants to go out for brunch with the ladies, guess where I'm going this weekend? I am going to 21166 Placerita Canyon, and I am going to, what property is this? I am going to 18706 Goodval Road because I have decided that this is my target demographic. This gives me the best talking points to go over with realtors. And now, instead of, if I was to take all the filters off, let's clear this filter, no minimum, no maximum. Let's say we take out this open house filter. Now, instead of having 2 very targeted properties that I can attack and go see realtors that I can see on my terms that I know are doing business in the market I want to do business in, I would have to search through, see down here, 233 homes to see who I want to be talking to. With the criteria that I'm filling in, that I'm picking Redfin to tell me about every day, if I want to go see a couple open houses, stop by those 2 properties. It'll take half an hour, take them some cookies, take them some business cards, have my talking points prepared. I've seen my weekly email of what's coming on the market, what's getting price reductions, what's selling. And now I've got great talking points for my realtor community. If you can't build business in your backyard using just this tool and not having to pay for a bunch of garbage marketing that effectively does the same thing for you, you should probably find a new business. That was probably pretty harsh. Oh,
Sorry, I was on mute. No, it's harsh, but so what? It's the truth, right?
right, right. All right, so I'm gonna stop sharing this screen real quick. Let's see what people are saying in the chat. Either they're saying that was way too harsh or this is good stuff. Helpful, I love it, great stuff. No. Yeah, but that's what you do. Yeah, that's true, Cole. I'm harsh and I just tell people how it is. All right, cool. So Mike, talk us through a little bit. One last question here from Sam. What are the talking points you would ask in person at the open house? Well, frankly, I just draw from any data that I got from my weekly Redfin search. So, if I was to walk into, let's see here real quick. Let me go back to sharing my screen since Beckett has a question and we like Beckett. So let's go back to my criteria here. We want to go to a minimum that I had at 800,000. We want to show open houses this weekend. Okay. We want to go to this open house. Which one is this? This is the Goodvale Road. So Goodvale Road is listed by Arsene Rostomanian at John Hart. So what do I want to talk to Arsene about? I can go down here and say, hey, here's some similar homes that are listed. What's better about yours? I can say, oh, look, stuff for selling in your neighborhood for 750,000 and 670,000, very, very close. Your place is listing for $1 million. What is so different about the market from this side of Main Street versus that side of Main Street that makes yours $1 million house? Since it told me who the listing agent is, let's just go here. She has a pretty unique name. Now we'll have even more talking points because I am an online stalking freak. Oh, there she is. So let's just add her as a friend. Now we're definitely going to have some talking points because everybody accepts everybody's friend request on Facebook if you're in the real estate industry. So I can go here. She's at John Hart. Oh, look, there's her listing. So let's just like her listing. Great listing. Saw it in my search criteria for my own house. Congrats. So I hope I'm just showing you, I'm not trying to be a smart ass, Sam, because I love you to death. If you can't find something to talk about by all the information that Facebook gives you, you need to spend a little bit more time online. Let's see, her LinkedIn profile is here. We could friend her on LinkedIn. I always like to go up here, look at images or news, sometimes images. Ironically, this must be a very big deal for her because this listing is one of the top pictures that comes up. I happen to know this agent down here, Jody Duranya. If she's showing up in her source, that means they've either worked at the same company before or Jody and her have co-listed a place. So I can call Jody and be like, hey, do you know Arsene? Can you make an introduction? I can go to LinkedIn. I can, I think I need to sign in here. Oh, darn it, that's going to sign me in under the wrong profile. So I don't want a friend request here, but you get the point. There's going to be something to talk about. I can connect with these people on Facebook. I can connect with them on some type of other social media. I can have something from Redfin to talk to them about. You can go look up their data on my MTA reports. You could say, hey, I saw there was 2 open houses right around the $1 million mark. Have you seen that place at 21166 Placerita Canyon, who is listed by Kathy Boast? Kathy, pretty unique name. Let's see if we can become friends with her. So trust me, you can go down this crazy endless rabbit hole of just playing online and never actually getting any business done. Because remember, you've got to pick up the phone and call them. You've got to text them. You've got to stop by and talk to them. You've got to ask for the business. But my point is people are always asking me, should I buy this software program? Should I invest in this CRM? Should I pay for this marketing service? Should I go on this TV show? The reality is all the tools that you need are really right here for free between Redfin and a spreadsheet. So stop looking for the silver bullet that's going to make your life easier and just play online a little bit, maybe limit it to half hour a day, 45 minutes at night, something like that. And you'll have your marching orders of people to call and people to work with. One, what's the Redfin versus Zillow? What's the difference? I don't know. I just adopted Redfin earlier, so I don't know if there's some functionality on Zillow. I should probably look into that. Shavarsh, that's my realtor. See, perfect example. One of the guys on our call, Shavarsh, who I love, works with this gal, right? Arsene. Guess what? If I didn't know that, I'm going after our scene. And if it's been a month or 2 months since Savarsh checked in with her and did some type of education or let them know that he can work on jumbo loans in the Valencia market, he's losing that realtor to me. It's just the way it is, because whoever's top of mind and in front of them the most often is going to be the one that gets the business. So this brings up another great point. Not only is this about new realtor acquisition, this is about keeping those deep relationships with your realtors that you already have, because it's telling you right here on Redfin what realtors are doing business and who you need to be following up with and staying in front of. So Savarsh, just for respect out of you, my friend, I will not call that realtor, nor will I stop in her open house this weekend. I love you. Thank you for being part of the program, and you just saved yourself a realtor relationship. Better follow up with her. All right, cool. Yes, I am a creeper, Sam. That is correct, but it gets business, so I'm fine with it. All right. Who else has questions? Mike, talk. I'm dying here.
That's all right. I don't have a lot to say. I've got a head cold, so I feel like my IQ is severely diminished today. But Scott, I do want to point out a piece of clarification about, for everybody watching, why this works for Scott and how it can work for you. So Scott mentioned paralysis by analysis, and Scott, you talked about how all the tools are there. But I think the real difference why this works for you so well, Scott, is because you pick up the phone, right? You don't worry about what am I going to talk about. You just pick up the phone and start talking. And if you screw up, well, you learn from that, you do better. And after 1,000 or 10,000 times doing that, now it's extremely natural for you to do that. So you don't have to worry about what you're going to talk about. There's always something there. But you can never overcome that. You can never build that natural tendency to talk by researching and by practicing on your own. You have to pick up the phone. So just pick up the phone and make the call. And then the second point is just be patient, right? So it's the persistence and the willingness to pick up the phone, and the persistence to continue to do it. But then the patience, understanding that you're going to get rejected. You're not going to be welcomed into everybody's world that you call, obviously, right? You all know this, but having the patience to allow the 60, 90, 100 days to pass before they start taking you seriously and responding to you and meeting with you and sending you business. Like I mentioned at the beginning of this call, I'm about 100 days into a brand new market, and I've got a lot of realtors that have not returned my calls. It's like a badge of honor. I'm still going after them. And eventually they will, or I'll put them off very soon. But it's the persistence and the patience, knowing that, man, you've got to do this 10 times, 20 times before you start seeing any type of results.
So I always like to joke, and this is, I'll talk, very vulnerably about one of my downsides is I have no problem making the initial conversation. Maybe it's because I struck out so often with the ladies when I was growing up. It was a contact sport. I just had to keep asking, right? You ask 100 girls out for a date, one of them's probably going to say yes. So I have no problem doing this initial cold conversation, stopping into open houses. And I like to say that my number one referral source for 2 years, 2015, 2016, I'm not joking. The first 14 times I met her at open house, she reached out her hand and said, "Oh, hi, I'm Tracy King." And I had to say, "Oh yeah, hi, we've met 5 times, 6 times, 7 times, 8 times. I know your daughter." Finally, she gave me a deal, right? So she was my number one referral source for 2 years. And then because of multiple reasons, lack of follow-up by me, some other new young guns in the area, some appraisal issues we had, whatever, it doesn't matter what it was, that relationship fell apart. Haven't gotten nearly as many deals from them in the last year. Where I suffer, and the thing that I've got to get out of my comfort zone is when those relationships drift apart, because it is so natural for me to go out and meet new people. I need to re-engage the people that used to give me 15 or 20 deals a year and say, "Hey, I don't know where we fell off. I got to win you over again," right? Some relationship book calls it dating your wife. If you want your wife to stick around, you got to treat her like you did when you were dating. We need to do the same thing with realtors. And I got to tell you, that's where I suffer. That's where I'm learning a lot from my business partner, Justin, because he's better at keeping people highly engaged once he gets them into the net. I tend to let people drift out of the net because I'm like, whatever, I can go fishing again. So I'm now using this tool. I've done 3 in-person meetings in the last 30 days with Tracy King and her team, or her daughter, or her soon-to-be son-in-law, trying to re-engage and, start dating them again because I want to get business from them. So, all of us have our fears, all of us have our downsides, but let me share this screen with you real quick so I can show you how easy it is. If you are scared, if you do screw it up, if you mess things up the first couple times, Mike, can you confirm that you can see my screen with the map of Pasadena again?
Yeah, we got it.
All right, perfect. So here I went to, all the way south to Berkshire Hathaway, and let's say I totally strike out. I don't have my talking point prepared. I don't know as much as I thought I knew about the jumbo market. I cold call all these people, or I database them, and then I accidentally send them the wrong email. I send them a consolidated coaching mass email instead of a realtor. Somehow I screw this up. Well, these 127 agents are dead to me. Like, I might have screwed it up. Maybe I blew up a deal so badly in this office that everybody knows about it. Good news is acre of diamonds, right? Right there in your backyard. Let's just go start over again with DZ Penner. So now we go up to DZ Penner and Partners, Pasadena. I happen to know DZ Penner has about 5 or 6 local offices. So I've completely nuclear imploded the relationship with Berkshire Hathaway, which, let's be real, you're not going to screw up that bad. Even if that's your fear, you're just not going to screw up that bad. So I come here to DZ Penner. Oh, here's all the other partners. Here's 200 more agents I can database and call on and start over again. And trust me, I've nuclear imploded some offices, but even offices where I've imploded, there's still 2 or 3 loyal people that are giving me business. And you rinse and repeat, and you rinse and repeat, and you keep adding value to these people, and you keep staying in front of them. Same thing. Whoops, totally screwed up DZ Penner 2 years down the line. Guess I got to move over to Sotheby's. And you just rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat. So pick a square 3 or 4 miles around your house, or around your mortgage office, or around your church, or around wherever you go the most. If you're dating somebody and you're always driving across town to be with them and stay at their house, wherever it is, pick a geographical area and just own it, because that's the power of, knowing people in your backyard. And then the reality is, when you do own your local market, I'm going to run into these people at the grocery store. I'm going to run into them at the sushi joint when I'm out with my wife and they're going to see me with my kid. I ran into 2 people that are realtors that work out at Equinox who were also on a hike on Echo Mountain on New Year's Day. Didn't stop and talk about business, but kind of just a subtle nod and a hello. They know that I work in the industry, or in the area. I live in the area. I'm hiking with my kid in the area. We didn't have to talk about business, but I guarantee you the next time they have a challenging loan deal, they're going to say like, oh yeah, that guy who hikes Echo Mountain on New Year's Day, the guy that eats at the same sushi joint as I do. So much power in owning that market locally. So update us on your journey, Mike. Where are you at rebuilding your business? It's such a great litmus test for all these ideas.
Yeah, I know, right? It's a little scary. I'm right about where I thought I'd be. Like I said, I'm about 100 days in. I've got 7 mil in the pipeline. Average loan size about probably 340-ish. And I'm working on getting that up, but I've had a few investor purchases that are small. But man, it's just persistence, Scott. It's just literally, it's monotony and persistence, and it's not. The hard part is just doing what needs to be done, right? And if you do that, eventually results happen. And honestly, I'm a little bit lucky in the sense that we talked about this on previous calls. Some of you are on this call for the first time. I got lucky in the sense that Scott and I met because we met at Movement Mortgage, but we also are in some mastermind groups together. And these are learning communities that we pay to be a part of, a lot like some of you are paying to be a part of this learning community. And because we got into this community, we made these high level contacts. So I was able to get introductions to very big people at Keller Williams and some local people that have kind of accelerated my path to success. But that was all because of actions that I took in the past that were very intentional. And then I've gone in without any expectations of reciprocity and delivered trainings. I offered to. One of my strengths is in coaching and personal development. I wrote a personal development book, and I do a lot of meetings around something called appreciative inquiry, which you'll learn about at our live event. But long story short, I've been able to go into Keller Williams and say, hey, I've got this expertise. you've got this coaching program for brand new agents. Why don't I co-facilitate that with you? No strings attached. I don't care if you send me deals or not. I'll just be the resource. And I go in and I run this coaching program. Now I've got 110 brand new agents who have never done a single deal reaching out to me for questions. Is that hard? Yeah, it's super hard. Right. But what's it going to turn into? Who knows? One of them may be a mega agent in a couple of years. A bunch of them may do, one deal a month, and there's going to be some gems in there.
Yeah, I totally agree. And a couple answers to questions here. Will this be recorded? Of course, Mike and I record everything. I want to also show, and I hope you guys know, I'm just kind of showing you how this rabbit hole goes down. I'm not bragging because this just happened this morning. So this is Facebook Messenger. This is exactly what I'm talking about. One of my trigger alerts from Redfin came up that Sandy Zalligans, the gal here, are you seeing Facebook Messenger on your screen, Mike?
Yep.
Sandy Zalligans, wonderful lady, makes a majority of her money doing property management, doesn't close a ton of deals, but she happened to have a listing. She popped up on Redfin. I said, oh man, haven't talked to Sandy forever. She's one of those realtors, we all have them, where you're like, man, I wish Sandy did more deals, because every deal I do with her, it goes smooth. She handles her clients so well. I haven't reached out to her in months, probably, frankly, because she hasn't had a listing or a buyer, because she makes most of her money off property management. But let me reach out. So I sent her a message and I said, hey, we're having this tax webinar next week. More coming on that for our coaching members. I'll explain that next week. Have this tax webinar coming. Would you like to attend to learn about the changes to the 2018 tax bill? She writes back, yeah, I would love to be part of the tax seminar. Great. Does anybody else in your office want to join? That started this conversation of, hey, by the way, we have a new team lead at the LA office, David Bramante. You could call and introduce himself, ask if there's anything you could do to support his business. It's a new role for him at the office. Mention my name. And then we started talking about some politics of downtown LA and the office down there, which doesn't really matter to you all. But the point is that me reaching out to her, even though she does 2 deals a year, has then turned into an introduction to the manager at a large real estate office who I reached out to, and we started exchanging some Facebook messages. I don't know if anything is going to come of it because they have an in-house lender, but all of a sudden now that guy knows my name. Sandy's putting out the word this Thursday at their office meeting that there's this great lender that's doing a tax seminar that's relevant to realtors. And it just creates this synergy of like, I'm going to get a deal, mark my words, some point in the next 90 days from somebody from that downtown Keller Williams office because their main guy drops the ball or I happen to pick up the phone, all because of some silly Facebook message, which was generated from free information I'm getting from Redfin, and I spent $0 on it. So that's my pitch for integrating Redfin into your daily tasks, your daily calls, follow-up. Manuel asked me to just go through the blog exercise one more time. Super easy, Manuel. Just go into any browser, type in Redfin space blog. It'll bring up the Redfin blog and just start trolling through there a little bit. See what their financial articles are, what their economic data is, pick and choose some stuff to reprint and post it out there to Facebook, send out email blasts if your company allows you to do that. Please check in with compliance. I'm not the compliance police, but I don't even want any of you getting in trouble with your marketing departments. So yeah, that's just, Redfin blog. And do you have any tips to reach consumers directly in a new market? Tony, there's rarely an open house that I go to where I don't meet at least one consumer, right? I'm parking, they're parking. They're leaving, I'm leaving. I introduce myself to a new realtor as a lender. Somebody overhears me and says, oh, hey, what are rates? Or the best scenario is the realtor doesn't have a preferred lender partner. I happen to be standing there and they're like, I don't know, ask this guy, he's a lender. And then that allows me to showcase my skill. So going to open houses, I'm not a huge fan of going to open houses on the weekend because I do think that pulls a little bit away from the experience that the realtor is trying to create to capture clients. So if I go, I'm in and out real quick. Hey, I'm a lender, don't want to bother you. I know you're trying to lead generate. Here's some cookies, here's some cards. Here's a $5 gift card for Starbucks. I'm going to take you out for coffee next week. Get in, get out. But sometimes I'll go to Tuesday or Thursday open houses, which are the caravans here in Los Angeles where other realtors preview the property for other realtors. And the consumers are so savvy and inventory is so low, a lot of consumers are going directly to those open houses. So I don't really use Redfin for consumer marketing per se. I don't know how to do that. By all means, if you do, shoot me a message. We'll have you be a guest coach on the call. But I do end up at a lot of open houses, drop-ins where I tend to meet consumers. So I hope that helps.
Yeah, Scott, I can add a little bit to that. I do a little bit of consumer outreach just through Facebook ads. I've just identified the variables of the consumer that I want to reach, and then I have a couple of niche programs here. I do a construction to perm up to 100%. I do bridge loans, right? So I don't love doing those loans, but I run ads about that. Just really simple. I spend $5 a week on sponsored posts that hit this very small market, and a handful of people click on them. I talk to those people. I ask for referrals. I end up meeting other people through them. It's not a great strategy, but it's something. It's very cheap. It's very passive. And it is one way to start engaging consumers direct. But I think consumer direct is a whole other animal, a whole other beast that's, kind of a whole separate thing, an entity that
we're going to be having 2 guest coaches on coming in the next 90 days. One is Hector Sebastian. He is a millennial guru, Facebook marketer, young guy, really amazing. He's killing it on organic marketing to consumers on Facebook. And then we're going to have another gentleman who I'm not at liberty to say just yet. Mike, you don't even know who he is, but we're paying him some money behind the scenes to help Justin and I build out some platforms. And I am talking him into coming on and talking to you guys about branding, going to the consumer direct, knowing your message. And then there's actually somebody watching this call or watching this video who we're probably also going to have on as a consumer direct guru. So anyway,
Gary Vaynerchuk Scott.
Yeah, no, I wish I bought his shoes, but I don't think that qualifies me for getting him on our post. Hey, this is one of the better attended calls that we've had. So I just wanted to ask real quick, get your honest feedback. Mike and I are not, gentle flowers. You can say whatever you think you need to say. Is this training valuable? Is this something any of you are doing right now, or did we, were we able to bring some new value and breach some new topics for you? Just let us know in the chat box. A lot of times it's just Mike and I in this echo chamber of talking to each other. We think we're doing a great job, but don't really know if you guys are getting a ton of value out of it. So let me know what you guys are thinking.
Yeah, and if there's something else that we can talk about, something you've got energy and passion around hearing about, let us know.
Yeah. Awesome. Cool. I don't think a lot of people are doing this. And I think there's this perception that like so many of the tools out there are just, consumer, they're going to call me, I'm going to get solicited to. Who cares? Human, I think is his name, is my assigned Redfin realtor. He calls me like once a week and emails me once a week and says, hey, you ready to buy a house? Ready to buy a house? No, not yet. No, not yet. He's doing his prospecting job. I'm using their tools to do my prospecting job. Just ton of information out there to get. So we'll hold on for another few minutes. If anybody has any generic questions about either this or anything else with the coaching program, I really hope all of you are going to make it live to the March event. I got to tell you, man, the guest speaker we have Thursday night, March 8th, what we have planned Friday, the 9th, and then Saturday morning, the 10th, a panel of top producers. We've got like 7 or 8 loan officers that are going to be on that panel that total close to, Michael Oman called me on my bullshit. It was only like 900 million. I said $1 billion. It's close to $1 billion in production. Sorry, Michael, I redid the math. It's only 900 million in production represented by those 7 people that are going to be up on stage. But we're going to have producers, and the focus of the live training, which anybody who's on this call is invited to, is going to be all about either perfecting in your channel, me, we, and they. And different people on this call are at different stages of their career. Some of you are in the me stage, right? It's just you. You're trying to spend that 5 or 10 years being awesome, getting proficient, knowing how to do loans. Some of you are in that we stage. You're adding partners and teams and LOAs and executive assistants and processors. And then some of you on this call have been moving into the they stage, meaning your whole job now is to manage and coach and start to back off of personal production. So, Mike and I are somewhere past the me, but not quite to the they. We've got a couple people that are going to be speaking on that panel that are very, very into the me, the we, and the they. So how do we perfect that? as originators. And then we're going to break into smaller groups within the group at the live event, which is going to be downtown LA at the Lux Hotel. Check out the Facebook group for a discount on the hotel. All of you guys are paying members of the coaching group, or you're part of our inner circle, so you're not paying anyway. So you don't have to pay, but just get to Los Angeles March 8th through 10th. And what else do you want to say about the live event, Mike? Because I know you're fired up about it.
Yeah, honestly, you said it all, but it's going to be awesome. It's going to be the best thing we've done. I guarantee it. And just for those of you who haven't had a chance to go through the itinerary, it's Thursday night for cocktails or juice, whatever you're into, and a speaker, a couple hours on Thursday night, all day Friday, and then just a half a day morning session on Saturday, which is the panel. We've got some cutting edge exercises we're doing. We've got some amazing speakers. And it's going to, like, literally, this is one event that I guarantee will move the needle in your business. And it's not just because it's our event. This is like the best thing I think that you could attend this year. I'm confident in saying that, Scott. And you can let us know afterwards if I was wrong or right. But I have a feeling if you show up to this event, you play all out, that it'll seriously move the needle in your business.
Yeah. I appreciate it, man. And to answer Mary's question, he asked, did Huma, the realtor that's assigned to me on Redfin, know I'm a lender? Yeah, he knows I'm a lender. I've told him very straight up, and it's interesting. Maybe I'll get a deal from him someday. One last thing you can do on Redfin, I haven't really perfected this, is you can add other individuals. So like my wife and I are merged on a profile, so that if she hearts something, I can heart it. We can see that we hearting together. That was a little weird. And then what you can also do is you can add realtor partners. So you can add other outside agents outside of Redfin as realtor partners. I'm thinking there might be a way to do that with like my 4 or 5 top realtors and bounce ideas and properties and kind of, talk a little gossip in between each other. Like, hey, did you see this property came on the market? Who got the listing? Things like that. I haven't quite perfected that yet. That's why I didn't want to go into it, but there's some other tools there that we'll get to eventually. So just a reminder, everybody on this call is going to be getting an invite in the next week for GoToWebinar. Unless we have a catastrophic meltdown on the back end of our operation, which is always a possibility, let's be honest, because this stuff is complicated. This should be our last call on Zoom. We'll be transferring over to GoToWebinar. So if you start getting stuff from, Scott Consolidated Coaching, Mike at Consolidated Coaching, Mike at GoToWebinar, Scott at Cisco Systems at gotowebinar.com/consolidated coaching, that is us. We're just signing you up for a new webinar series. We've got the first quarter all planned out. And thank you guys for being here, man. Mike, thanks for making it. I know you're sick as can be, and I appreciate you always adding value, even when you're under the weather.
Yeah, happy to be here. And I just want to say before we go, it's really trippy watching Arash in the background, watching us as we speak.
Yeah, that's some good stuff right there, man. It's like some Inception second level stuff. All of us right now are really in the Matrix at Chipotle eating lunch, because that's where I'm going next. But you're getting training through some cerebral hookup. So very cool. All right, love you guys. We'll talk to you all soon.